This is my fortress, and after spending hundreds of days constructing this behemoth of a base, I wanted more. I wanted to rebuild civilization in this desolate wasteland I found myself in. Picture this, a community of survivors and a place they can call home, a village and a sanctuary from the dangers of the outside world. Well, I plan to build all of this, but in order to do all that, we need to go back to where all this left off. This story picks up with me returning to my base, which I had briefly left behind. Except now, I had with me another survivor, and his name, 𝐵𝐻𝐻, who I had also met on my previous venture, which I am now returning from. 𝐵𝐻 had agreed to come back and work alongside me on this ambitious goal of rebuilding civilization. I gave 𝐵𝐻 a quick walkthrough of my base, showing him where we'd set up our defenses and where all the crucial supplies were stored. Though it was familiar to me, to 𝐵𝐻, this was a new home, and it'd take him some time to get accustomed to the new scenery. The two of us sat down and discussed the grand plan. The goal was to reclaim the town and turn it into a suitable outpost. I shared my vision of transforming our base into a thriving hub, complete with a well-organized farm to ensure we'd have a steady food supply. Fortunately for us, 𝐵𝐻 has a background in farming and trapping, so it wouldn't be too hard for him to take charge in running the farm for us, a task that would be vital for our survival and long-term success, which frankly was for the best, since I could focus on doing all the fun stuff while he dragged his feet in the dirt all day. But before we can get started on any of that though, I had to deal with the aftermath of a previous battle I had fought. I began the process of removing corpses that had accumulated around the base. It wasn't the most pleasant task, but it was a necessary one to keep the area secure and prevent any corpse sickness from being the death of us. At this point, the sight and smell of the rotting undead was so consistent I had almost become accustomed to it, which probably isn't a great sign, but I kept keeping on. With the immediate area cleared, I headed into town to scavenge for food and supplies. 𝐵𝐻 stayed back at base to continue prepping for the next few days and weeks ahead. I needed to find enough food to fatten my character up, and I hoped to gather enough resources to help us get through the coming days until the farm was up and running. I made my way through a few stores, dispatching zombies as I went, and the streets were eerily quiet, minus the occasional groans of the undead, but I managed to clear out a good chunk of them before I had arrived at a shopping plaza. Among the stores, I stopped by a liquor store, hoping to find some useful items, or preferably just something to take the edge off, a habit that I had begun to fall into during my time in the wilderness. But to my surprise, as I was looting the liquor store, I was caught off guard by a sudden presence.
Hello?
Who are you?
My brother. We're holed up nearby. I was seeing if there's any liquor here so we can tend to his wounds.
There's some bourbon right here.
Oh god, please, please, please.
Is your brother okay? What happened to him?
There was raiders. Got whacked in the head with a metal bar. He hasn't woken up.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I can't talk. If you want to follow, we're based nearby at one of the small houses.
You okay? I'm coming in. Oh. I'm so sorry.
God damn it.
What was your brother's name?
Eric. We came over from West Point, and then on the way here, we got attacked. I did make it in time.
That's a hard one. Genuinely, that's really upsetting.
It was the only reason why we came down here. He said we can come down here. He said there's a police station that we could probably loot for some guns to hold up.
I have a settlement up the road, and I did happen to loot that police station that your brother brought up. You know, I reckon we can take your brother back towards my settlement. We can give him a proper burial. I don't know, maybe you can stick around with me.
Yeah, man. That'd be great.
As is the case with most survivors in the apocalypse, 𝐶𝑠 had a story of his own. His brother had died in a recent skirmish, and he was now on his own. There was a certain sadness in his eyes, and it was clear he had seen more than his fair share of hardships. But that was the nature of this place and time. Everyone had been through it. Even I had seen my fair share of loss. For one thing, when I buried 𝐾𝐧 inside the forest, I had to leave some really nice loot on his body. It was a loss I felt dearly even now. Despite the grim circumstances, I invited 𝐶𝑠 to join us. I figured he could be a valuable addition to our group, so we headed back to the base together and I introduced him to my friend 𝐵𝐻𝐻. I briefed 𝐵𝐻𝐻 on 𝐶𝑠's situation, how his brother had met his end, and 𝐵𝐻𝐻, being the empathetic character he was, responded appropriately.
𝐵𝐻, are you here?
Yeah. Is that him? Is his name 𝐵𝐻?
Yeah, he goes by 𝐵𝐻. This is 𝐶𝑠. His brother.
Nice to meet you, man.
His brother died. He's Hey, that's not funny, 𝐵𝐻.
We brought 𝐶𝑠 up to speed on the grand plan to take over the town. I gave him a thorough walkthrough of the base, showing him our current setup and the areas we need to fortify. 𝐶𝑠 seemed eager to contribute in any way he could, and he was asking all the right questions.
Any specialties you can bring to our group?
I used to be a firefighter, so I know my way around an axe.
Oh, that's Good to know. Outside is the balcony, the rooftop view, and the rooftop farm.
And you built this with your 2 hands?
I sure did. This took quite some time, but we got it done. And that's what I wanted to tell you about. You know, I've got it all here, man, but I still want more. I want an entire city, a place where we can actually rebuild civilization, bring survivors in and rebuild a world of our own. What do you think about that? I mean, it's ambitious.
I don't mean to, how are we gonna repopulate?
Oh, I'm sure we could find a way. Now, this is slightly off topic, but this is a question for you guys. Have you ever wanted your own Project Zomboid server for you and your friends to play together? Well, if so, then you should check out Pine Hosting. With Pine Hosting, you can set up a server in minutes, ensuring high performance and a super easy to use server panel. Not to mention, but they also offer global locations and DDoS protection, so your server is always secure and lag-free. And I think my personal favorite is that Pine Hosting offers some of the most affordable prices out of most competitors, and they also have a one-click workshop installer for all your favorite mods, making it super easy to install all your hundreds of thousands of mods. Now, lastly, Pine Hosting isn't only for Project Zomboid. You can get a server for plenty of other games including Rust, Minecraft, Unturned, and plenty of other well-known titles. So if you're looking to get a server with Pine Hosting, you can use my code at checkout to get 30% off your order. Otherwise, you can just click my link down in the description below. Plus, it supports the channel. So yeah, thank you Pine Hosting for sponsoring this video. As the morning of day 2 arrived, our focus was on expanding our ranks and strengthening our base, because in reality, we would need more members to support our ambitious project of rebuilding civilization from the ground up. But with more members comes a larger cost, so we would also need to gather more food and supplies to sustain our growing community. Fishstore got straight to work on setting up a farm, which would be a crucial part of our food supply strategy. And as if it was planned, day 2 marked the arrival of a new member named Banana Man. By the time I ran into him, he had already become familiar with the 2 other members of our group, but in some way that was a convenient change, since I didn't have to spend a few hours helping him grow accustomed. Sour and I focused on moving our traps further away from the base to improve their effectiveness, and we also gathered some logs for future use. We made the use of the rotting meat pile near our base to gather some extra materials for sheet ropes. Then we used the sheet ropes to stack the logs into neat piles of 4. This made it way easier to transport and manage them, and after a productive session of gathering and organizing, we fully loaded the truck with logs and returned to base. And once we returned home, we took great care to arrange the logs in what I consider to be a scenic display. It went against my programming, but time was of the essence. The remainder of the day was spent scouring nearby towns for additional loot and potential survivors. But as the sun began to set, we decided to all call it a day and head back to our base. Our energy spent, but our mission progressing. On day 3, Fishstore and I set out on a mission to loot a nearby warehouse. Our goal was to gather as many tools and supplies as we could to support our ambitious plan of reclaiming the town. We arrived at the warehouse and quickly got to work, collecting essential items like axes, hammers, nails, and saws. The next morning, we headed over to the nearby saloon with the hopes of finding some food and precious, delicious, satiating alcohol, the nectar of the gods. I craved the sweet release of drinking away my world burden. Anyways, before we could get inside, we had to take the time to clear out a small horde that had gathered in front of the saloon, which between the 2 of us was just a matter of time. While we were looting, Fishstore and I stumbled upon an unusual item lodged inside of the chest of a zombie, a massive microwave maul.
What is that in that zombie, bro? What is that?
God damn it, man. So, what the f is that thing? What is going on there, bro? Its size was monstrous, so much that it was bordering on insanity, and in that way, it was like we were 2 peas in a pod, joined together by our broad edges and mammoth scale. So after retrieving it, I decided to mess around with it for a little bit. Yeah, you like that? Oh my god. After clearing out the saloon and gathering some interesting loot, including a jukebox, which would let me play and then have to censor copyright music in this video, but we eventually made our way back to base. The truck was loaded with supplies and we began the task of unloading it. But as I started making a hearty soup for everyone, another survivor unexpectedly showed up at our base.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? My name is Bob.
Oh.
Hello?
How did you find our base?
I was just running. I was just trying to find somewhere to build.
Here, sorry, hold on. I gotta check my soup. If you want to come inside, I'll give you a quick little introduction. Hey, man, I mean, I don't know if you have anywhere else to go, but we're kind of recruiting. We need more numbers.
Not really. I've been just running with no food and water, so I'd love to join you if it's possible.
What kind of specialties or qualities do you think you could bring to our group?
In my country, I'd grab some tables and use them, you know. I mean, I'd build stuff. I'd
Oh, okay.
hammer stuff up.
Okay, so you're like a carpenter back where you come from.
Yes.
Since many hands make light work, I invited Bob to join our crew and help us with our goals of expansion. And with Bob now a part of the team, I wrapped up the day by enjoying a meal and freshening up. I bathed in the cold waters of the apocalypse, reminiscing about my life before, all the hopes and dreams I had. I wanted to be a florist, selling flowers on the side of the road and sharing wishes of happiness to weary travel. I don't know where that came from. Sorry. Later that night, we did some minor preparations and checked out Fish Store's new farm, making sure everything was on track and ready for the days ahead. Over the next few days, Bob and I spent most of our time looting the town. We took our large storage truck along for the ride, making it way easier to haul everything back that we found. Our primary goal was focusing on gathering food, cooking items, and any other useful supplies from various houses in the nearby town. On one of the long hauls, Sour, Bob, and I ventured out to search for weapons. We stumbled upon a survivor's home packed with an impressive collection of melee weapons, and after securing some of these weapons, we decided it was time to get Sour a new car to help with our growing operations. And after searching a handful of parking lots, we eventually found what we were after. And with the new car amongst our convoy, we returned home and unloaded our car inventories. Shortly after, Sour let us know that he would be heading off to West Point to search for a friend he had left behind. So that just left Bob and I to spend most of the night organizing the newly acquired supplies into our base storage. Organizing loot is important because without organization, are we really survivors? Or are we just a different strain of brainless undead, wandering our way around and leaving a trail of destruction? But since we'd finish up organizing by the next morning, Bob and I returned to town with Fish Store, where we unexpectedly ran into Sour on the road. He was heading back from town with someone new in tow, a survivor named Taya.
Whoa! Oh my god.
Okay.
Hello? What's going on?
Huh?
Who's that in your car?
It's my neighbor.
Yeah, I'm Sour's old neighbor.
You come from West Point too? You with your Sour's neighbor, right?
Yeah.
We introduced ourselves and discussed our grand plan of transitioning from a base to a full-fledged village.
What's your name again? Sorry, I don't think we've met.
It's Taya.
Oh, Taya. Well, hello. What kind of qualities do you think you bring to the group?
I can do foraging.
That's not that bad. Foraging's pretty good. We can use the bait. Yeah, just make yourself at home, Taya. Welcome to the group.
With the future village in mind, Bob and I continued our search for recipe magazines to help upgrade our vehicle's armors. We knew that this would be a useful upgrade, but in truth, it would just look really cool. So we eventually moved on to the school in Modrov to look for skill books and magazines that were left around in the classrooms. We did have to clear a bunch of zombies both inside and around the school, but we managed to loot it successfully. And afterwards, we explored office buildings and other commercial stores in the town before heading back home. With the big loot run behind us, I had a meeting with Sour and Taya to discuss building a defensive wall around the intersection for our new village.
What I was thinking about doing is from all the way over here, part where the road ends, like this thing, there's one on each side, like on all four sides. So what we can do is we could build a wall that basically goes symmetrically across each end, like a perfect box that just like connects it all together. So it'll probably even come out here even a bit too, and then it'll like bridge down this way.
And while they both gathered wood and mapped out the corners for the wall, I focused on upgrading my old RV with protective armor, preparing it for our next mission. I chose the RV because it would be able to transport all of us while offering plenty of storage space. And to think, I started out with nothing but this very RV, so giving it a nice new upgrade was humbling to say the least. And with what's to come next, we would definitely be needing an armored vehicle. Our main goal right now was to acquire a ham radio. This device would allow us to broadcast a message to areas around the entire map, which I plan to use for calling more survivors to join us and help us with our goal of turning this place into a full-fledged village. However, the only place we knew for sure where we could get one was all the way over at the LV checkpoint. Now, I'm sure you can find one from other locations, but the main reason we chose to go there was because this area has some of the best available military loot scattered around the entire checkpoint. So we plan to loot this place of all its valuable loot even after acquiring the ham radio. But why do we need to armor my RV? Well, not just because it would look really cool, but also because the entire journey to LV would be a dangerous one. Also, not to mention, but it would ensure that my RV wouldn't break down after hitting too many zombies on the road. So I spent the most of the evening and night adding heavy protection to my RV, and with some of the leftover metal, I crafted myself a full set of metal armor to ensure that I was well prepared for what laid ahead. The next morning, we gathered everyone together for a briefing before our journey to the military checkpoint. And to send everyone off on a high note, I decided to cook up a hearty meal to raise our spirits. So with the RV fully armored and our supplies packed, we hit the road, making our way past Moldrov, past West Point, and through hordes and hordes of zombies. Our destination was the LV checkpoint, and after a long and arduous journey, we finally arrived. First off, we stopped outside the gates and dismantled the barricades so we can gain entry. Then we first headed to the checkpoint building, where we began to break down a door to retrieve our primary objective, a ham radio.
Alright, grab the ham radio.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Alright, I got it. Let's just look for some more radios and walkie-talkies. And also let's loot this place up. Let's loot it clean.
While the ham radio was our main goal, we also planned to loot this entire place of all its various loot and valuable items. So we explored various areas, including a shipping container full of military crates and several military tents that yielded various amounts of precious loot. In reality, it was no surprise that the checkpoint held so many goodies, but it was still a welcome change from the towns that we had been searching previously. Afterwards, we took the RV further up the road to a camp area in search of metal drums for our irrigation system back at base. Since sustainability was one of our key goals, getting irrigation up and running was essential for our village survival. Fortunately enough, we managed to find 5 or 6 and then loaded them into the RV. And after filling almost every inch of storage space in the RV, we finally began to make our way back home and set up the ham radio. And after a long trek, it felt refreshing to lay my eyes out on the blossoming village, even if it still had a long way to go. As soon as we got back to base, I installed our new radio on the 2nd floor and made a global transmission, reaching out to anyone listening. I explained that we were looking for more survivors and extended an invitation to join us if they were in need of help.
Hello, anybody out there? My name is Brollow. We're located in the crossroads next to Muldroff. We're doing okay here. We have a settlement, handful of survivors. We're looking for good people to join us and help us rebuild civilization. If you're hearing this message, come find us in the crossroads next to Muldroff.
I also provided our location and frequency so that they could reach us at any time and contact us via the radio. And as a signal that things were moving in the right direction, as we began unloading the RV, a new survivor named Halo had arrived at our base, followed closely by another newcomer named Blue Banana. We all introduced ourselves and spent some time getting to know one another, but unfortunately our happy meeting was going to be short-lived, because at that moment I drew my eyes to a warning that I hadn't noticed. A giant horde was expected to arrive the next day. So, as any strong group should, we held a group meeting to discuss our strategy for dealing with the impending threat.
Let's have a little group meeting real quickly. What's going on, everybody? So as you know, there's a horde coming tomorrow. We're going to be seeing a really big horde tonight. We're going to want to get ready for that because there's going to be close to 400 zombies coming. Now that we have people coming in, we're going to need to be able to securely protect us all. So I think after the horde, we're going to start working on the wall project to close this entire intersection off. Everybody go ahead and get some gear, get some ammo, guns, food, get everything you need. Prepare for the worst.
The morning of day 11 began with a jarring crash outside my base. Rushing out, we discovered the cause. A new survivor named Cheese had accidentally crashed into our garage and colliding with one of our parked cars.
What? Hello? What the f are you?
Excuse me, you just drove into my garage and crashed into my car. Who the hell are you? Get out of that car. What do you think you are? Just flooring it into my house, man.
I'm sorry, the road was supposed to be clear here. All my maps didn't say there was something here.
Did you get my message?
Yeah, I got a message, but I didn't know it was a base in the middle of the fucking road.
This is our settlement, man.
You gotta give me some credit. I'm going full speed. This bad boy has barely got any gas left.
All right, yeah, I guess that's fair. That's fair. Welcome, Cheese. So if you're looking to join our settlement, this is it.
I'd love to join, dude. I'd love to.
After the initial shock, needing any helping hands we could get from the oncoming horde, we welcomed Cheese into our group. But with Cheese set up and now on board, we shifted all our focus to prepping for the incoming horde. The entire morning and early afternoon were spent fortifying our defenses and lifting our spirits. We had some fun in the living room, cranking up the jukebox with totally legal music that I can definitely share with you all and letting loose. But when the celebrations were over, the horde began to approach, and we made final preparations, making sure our guns and ammo were ready. And for a while, silence fell upon the village, knowing that what was next could be the biggest threat we'd ever face. And when the attack began, zombies poured in from all directions. We stationed ourselves on all sides of the base, putting up a fierce defense. In truth, I had a couple close calls, nearly getting overwhelmed.
Oh, that was close. God. Oh my God. There's so many. Oh. I can't be doing that. I can't be doing that. They're on the wall over here. Get them off this wall. Oh. We're doing it. We're doing it. Guys, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Just stay alive.
But after a fierce battle, the groans of the undead finally started to diminish. As a customary at this point, we celebrated our survival with a makeshift party in the kitchen, completed with a table covered in beer.
Let's celebrate. Let's have a drink. Oh, shit, look at this. Oh, we're celebrating. All right. Good shit, guys. Good shit. We survived the night, but it's not over yet. Now we get working on the big goal at hand, and that's walling in this entire place. Everybody can build their own little room, their own little personal space if they want. What are you guys doing? You guys had a little too much to drink, didn't you?
Mama.
The immediate threat was over, but our work was far from done. To ensure our safety and solidify our claim on the settlement, we planned to build a defensive wall around the entire intersection. But as always, before we could start on that, we spent the remainder of the night cleaning up the numerous zombie corpses scattered around the base. This was becoming a pretty consistent habit of mine, one that I almost relished. Yes, it was disgusting and gross and gooey and bloody and all that, but it was a sign that we were still alive. So even as I palmed over the mushy corpses of the undead, I had a smile on my face. All that to say, I really just needed to get some more alcohol in my system. With the zombie corpses finally cleared, I took some time for personal upkeep, minor base maintenance, and a much needed bath. I reminisce not for my previous life, but for the friends I made along the way here. We were getting closer and closer to the safe haven I've always wanted. Once the village was up and running, I could start my very own florist and greet travelers with fresh bouquet of— I don't know why I keep going back to this. I turned my attention to the log stacks we've been storing outside since day 2. With the planned walls in mind, I spent a good chunk of the day sawing these logs into usable planks for our construction. And as to be expected, the next task was tackling the ambitious project of building a defensive wall around the entire intersection. So I began by setting up the first section of the wall, and it quickly became apparent just how extensive this project was going to be. The scale of the wall was far larger than I had anticipated, highlighting the significant effort required to enclose this entire area.
Boy, this is gonna be quite the compound, man. I'm just noticing how big this is gonna be.
But despite the enormity of this task, the progress made felt satisfying, marking the beginning of a new chapter in our mission to create a secure and thriving village. And in a way, many hands would make light work, so we just kept moving forward. Over the next few days, work on the wall continued with steady progress. We nearly completed one entire side of our ambitious project, but just as we were getting into the rhythm of it, I was caught off guard when a notification appeared above my head, warning me of an incoming zombie horde. The horde was smaller than anticipated, consisting of roughly 50 to 70 zombies, but its sudden arrival caught me off guard for sure. So we had to put the wall project on hold to handle the unexpected threat.
Guys, I just had a horde. I have a horde coming. Gotta protect the walls. Gotta protect the walls. Don't let them break it. Horde, horde, horde.
The fight was intense and chaotic, but we managed to clear out the horde and restore some semblance of order.
I think that's all of them. I think we got him. Do a perimeter check. Check all the walls and see if they're outside banging on it.
With the immediate danger gone, I dove back into my construction work, pushing through the night and to the next day. But by the end of this grueling session, I had not only finished the previously completed side, but also wrapped up the 2 additional sides of the walls. And with only one side left to complete, the end of the wall construction was in sight. And not to mention, but the progress that was made so far was encouraging, and it promised a much needed boost to our settlement's defenses. So I continued working diligently on the walls, incorporating gates to allow our vehicles easy access in and out, and during this period I tried my best to make frequent checks on my people, and unfortunately I became aware that Halo had suffered serious injuries.
We crashed on the way here, and we're both at half health.
Oh, for real?
It was a bad crash, yeah. I was drinking and driving.
Hey, you okay? You look kind of f***ed up, man. Oh my god, Halo, what happened to you, bro?
I kind of drank some alcohol, a little bit too much.
Just alcohol? I mean, look, I don't think alcohol does this to you, man.
It turned out that he and Sour had been in an accident while looting in town. Halo's health was critically low, but fortunately, because of our diligent preparation and loot runs, we had a well-stocked medical supply to address his needs. So with the idea that Halo was now heading in the right direction, I left him and resumed my work on the external walls. But unfortunately, not all things in building a village go to plan, and we were about to suffer a grueling loss. Just 2 weeks into this journey, I was jolted by the sound of someone calling out. Someone had died. Rushing over, I found my team gathered around Halo's lifeless body.
What? How did he die, man? No, Halo. We have to bury him.
Shattered by the knowledge that we had lost a dear friend, we organized a small funeral and constructed a grave for him, paying our respects to our fallen friend.
Well, we didn't get to know him as much, but at least from what I know of him, he was a pretty cool guy. He was one of the first people who got my message.
He helped me get hinges so we can build the gates for the walls.
He did.
As we processed this loss, we discovered some sad details about Halo's last moments.
Let's take some of his things.
Yeah,
I like his hat. I'll take his
he had
hat.
10 beer cans on him.
Are you serious?
Okay, yeah, he
He had a journal.
Oh my god, he did!
He has empty beer cans.
He had antidepressants and a bunch of beer cans, man. What was he doing?
Most touching was finding a journal he had been keeping on him since we first met, where he had been writing down his entire life's journey.
He had a journal.
Wait, hold on, what? Oh, he did. Day 1. I woke up in West Point to screaming outside. I went out of my room and suddenly my house was surrounded by an insane mob that tried to break in. The world has gone to shit. Oh, God. Wait, this actually goes for 10 pages. Woke up bored, depressed, little queasy, and with a splitting headache. I need alcohol. I need to find something to get turned up, man. That's crazy. We'll see you in the next life, Halo. Well, I'm gonna go finish this wall.
After the somber task of burying Halo, we knew that the only way we could honor his memory is by continuing the work towards our goal, so that no one would be able to suffer like he had. As a result, we shifted our focus back to completing the wall. And after days and almost weeks of grinding, we finally managed to finish the massive perimeter wall, making our intersection completely secure from external threats and hordes. So with the wall project completed, we held a group meeting to discuss our goals going forward.
Okay, gather around the table. Everybody should be here in spirit, including Halo. His blood is on the floor. We have good news. The wall is officially done. Now, that doesn't mean we're done here in general. We still have a lot of things we can do. Fish is working on a farm, and Sour and Taya are working on their own little property on the north side of the wall. Maybe we can go out and look for more survivors as well to bring in. I think we're on our track to rebuilding civilization.
Hip hip hooray!
Hooray.
It is so anticlimactic.
So the focus now shifted to expanding our settlement, building houses, completing our farms and irrigation systems, and not to mention but finding more survivors to join us in our growing village. The groundwork was laid, and the future held new opportunities for rebuilding and community growth. With that in mind, I took a tour around the village to check on everyone's progress. Fish had made impressive strides with his farm, cultivating a bountiful crop and outfitting his barn.
What's up, Fish?
Hey, Brollow.
How's it working for you?
Good, it's a lot better now that I can actually work.
What's your goals right now?
Finish building. I already got like this. I got the outside part done. It looks nice.
Yeah, this is looking good. Oh yeah, your own little like thing set up here. Okay.
Yeah.
And as for Sour and his friend Taya, they were busy starting on their own personal house, adding a nice personal touch to our growing community. All these small things were turning these houses into homes, and the sense of community grew with each and every day.
Ooh, what you doing? You building like a nice little modern house?
So this is the kitchen. This is the living room. This is my room. There's gonna be a shared bathroom.
Okay. Sick, this looks cool. I see this layout you're going for. I can already envision it, so that's cool.
However, now that Fish's new farm is starting to yield some bountiful harvests, we would need a place to store and preserve all his crops. And since we were already planning on a looting run, Bob and I decided to head into town with a box truck with Sour falling behind on his motorcycle. Our mission was to gather concrete, gravel, and metalworking supplies. And not to mention, but we also planned to go to the motel nearby where we know we could find a freezer. And after arriving and looting everything we needed, I began loading up the truck while Sour and Bob went off to find a new car. And as if out of nowhere, Bob came sprinting back in panic, announcing some bad news.
Bro, we gotta go. There's a horde coming. We gotta go.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's so many! Oh my... This is Richard!
While exhausted and unable to run, I managed to regroup with Sour and Bob, but just as we were regaining our footing, I ran into an unexpected trouble.
Sprinter! Die. Help!
If you got bit, I gotta cure.
I gotta heal.
I was left with a laceration on my arm and both my hands, but fortunately Sour was quick to act, shooting the zombies off of me and helping me get to safety. I was lucky to be alive.
Both my hands are f***ed up, bro. I'm heavily exerted right now. We need a car to get out of here. Bob, call the radio. Tell them we need help immediately.
We made our way back to a safe distance where Fish Store, Banana Man, and Taya soon arrived to assist us.
The car, they're here.
Help us out.
There's more. Oh my god, bro. Heal up, I'll cover you.
Both my hands are scratched up. I think I don't know if I got bit or not, but I don't remember. I got a pretty bad bruise on my arm.
And together we fought off the remaining zombies and made our way back home. I felt grateful that my life had been saved, but in truth, this was an incredibly risky run. And while I tended to my wounds, I had to carefully consider our actions and what we might do differently to avoid putting ourselves in danger again. So, trying to stay out of trouble, I did some mechanical work on the cars, but I was hit by the horrid news that yet another horde was approaching.
Boys, the horde's coming in like 20 minutes.
So 20 seconds.
Yep, pretty much. Eat up if you can. Get nice and full. Here they are.
Now, having confronted a threat like this before, everyone in the village was prepared. But thankfully, all of our hard work on the walls of the village would surely make this a much more manageable encounter. We took our positions around the compound, each covering a different side, just as we had planned.
They're trying to break through the gates. Keep them off the gates.
The horde focused mostly on the walls, allowing us time to pick them off one by one. And thanks to our fortified walls and coordinated effort, we managed to neutralize the entire horde. This was a refreshing feeling. All those days spent grinding to build this wall had actually paid off, and the village was largely unscathed.
Oh yeah, they're all over the walls. All over the walls. This isn't hard, actually. They're just distracted. Oh, absolutely take this. Looks like we did it. Not a single wall broke.
Yeah, those walls really helped. Kind of distracted them.
Yeah, for real. If we didn't have those walls, we would probably have been swarmed around our base again.
So with the horde cleared, we finally had the freedom to focus on the next big steps, developing and expanding our village. So over the course of day 19 and day 20, our efforts were geared towards building up the infrastructure, repairing and upgrading vehicles, and enhancing our compound. I spent much of the time working on personal projects, upgrading our vehicles, adding new parts and armor to ensure that they were in top condition. Meanwhile, others in the village worked diligently on their own projects. Houses were being constructed, walls were being decorated, and the village was truly becoming something amazing. And by the end of day 19, we had welcomed 2 more survivors to our camp, Some Guy and Bash. And yes, that's right, his name was actually Some Guy. I don't know, that was his choice. Yeah. But both of them had heard our broadcast from a handful of days earlier, and since then they had been making their way here to join us. Their arrival was a welcome addition, bringing some new skills and resources for our ever-growing group. And I finally took some time to dismantle broken down cars around the compound. My goal was to salvage metal and car parts, which I hope to use for further upgrades and repairs on our personal vehicles. And this task continued all the way into day 20, where I focused on fixing up my personal truck and Sour's truck. Finally, once our vehicles were in better shape, I decided to lead a group of 4 survivors into town, in the hopes to gather some more metalworking supplies and to relocate a trailer I had left behind for additional storage. We started by stopping at a gas station to fill up on propane and gasoline, but while some of the group collected furniture for their new homes, I took the truck to the trailer further up the road. My first stop was at a car wreck site where I had previously left behind a trailer. I dismantled the wrecks and successfully attached the trailer to my truck, and from there, we proceeded to scavenge several houses in the nearby village. Next, we drove further up the road, hitting a few restaurants to find industrial fridges and other useful items for our bases. The night began to fall as we continued our scavenging, and we encountered a few small hordes along the way, which we swiftly dealt with. And by the time we headed back, it was well into the night, transitioning into day 21. Despite the late hour, our haul of supplies and improvements to our vehicles marked a productive and successful day for our expanding village. With so many people on our trip and so many goals in mind, we acquired a heap of useful loot to further the cause of the village. It was definitely another case of many hands making light work. But as we started to make our way back home from our productive scavenging trip, we realized that we had accidentally forgotten one thing far more important than loot. Well, debatably. We had accidentally left cheese behind at one of the restaurants. A quick but easy decision led us to head back to retrieve him, but we found him in a rather unexpected location.
What are you doing out here? Where'd he go now? Is he taking a shit? Bro, come on. Bro's taking a shit. Come on, what are you doing in there, man? We go shit back at home, man. What are you doing in this thing?
Leave me alone, what the hell?
Get out of this, John.
After ensuring Cheese had dealt with his personal business and was safely back with us, we continued our journey home. Once we were all reunited back at the village, we unloaded the truck and organized our inventories. The afternoon was spent unwinding, and I took a much-needed break with a sink bath to freshen up. As I bathed, I thought not backwards but forwards, to a future that was quickly coming to fruition. I thought of resting amongst a hall of bottles, not a worry in the world. I thought of the villagers rejoicing. I thought of a florist right in the corner of the town where I could sell. After having a bath, I went around the village to check on the progress of everyone's individual projects. Sour and Taya had been working diligently on their house, which was shaping up nicely.
Oh, dude, I can already see the vision. This looks so cool. I know this is like not even done yet, but I can see it. Like I can just see what you're doing here. You're cooking. This looks sick. Is this your bedroom, right?
Yeah, this is mine.
You gonna have your socks in here?
Yeah. Maybe some mannequins with stripper outfits. I got like 2 stripper outfits.
Okay.
I then also visited Banana Man's house, which was cleverly converted from a restaurant.
Oh, he got the sign out front. Oh, the roof and everything. Okay, wait, this is sick. Wait, is this a house mixed into a spiffo?
Yep.
Oh, dude, this is a vibe, bro. This is a vibe.
In the evening, we all gathered in my living room to enjoy some totally legal and unusable music on the jukebox. A moment of relaxation and camaraderie after a long day of hard work. Looking ahead, I plan to expand the second floor of the house to include a dance floor, bar, and some additional rooms, aiming to enhance our communal space and make the village even more comfortable and inviting. The next week was a whirlwind of construction and community building as I focused on expanding expanding the second floor of our base. With the rooftop farm no longer needed, I began transforming the space like I had planned. I laid down new floors and started construction on additional rooms, one for Bob and another for a designated office or storage space. In the main room, I began crafting a bar and club area, complete with a new roof and initial furnishings. The transformation was coming together and the space was starting to look impressive. I finally felt at peace with my goals. During these days, our settlement attracted several new survivors, each bringing their own skills and energy. Tinkerboom, Ryu, John, Willow, and Cheddar. It was exciting to see our community grow and diversify. New personalities joined and changed the dynamics. For a moment, it was like we weren't in the apocalypse at all.
Well, welcome, John Z. This is our settlement. If you're looking for a place to stay, we're glad to have you, as long as you're, you're willing to contribute.
Well, of course I am. What in the world is
Yeah,
happening
we have a lot of weird ways to introduce ourselves to people.
I made the rounds to check on everyone's progress in their personal projects, and I also spent some time organizing our loot and continued working on the bar, adding furniture, lighting, and a stylish checkered floor around the bar area. The additional room on the second floor received its own roof and was converted into a secondary storage area, completed with a checkered floor to match the bar's theme. Bub's room was completed to his satisfaction, and we managed to get everything set up just the way he wanted.
Yay, I got a bed. I can sleep now.
After days of hard work, we gathered for a group meeting to reflect on our journey and discuss the looming threat that we anticipated. Up until now, we had been here for almost a month, and with that would come one of our biggest challenges yet. There was a massive horde in the horizon that would plan to test our efforts in defending the village.
If I'm looking back at the beginning of this entire journey I've been on, I started with nothing but a single RV. I lived out of that for couple months, and then I moved into this metal compound little structure thing that we're in now, and it was pretty much empty, and then it eventually became a home, and now this place is more than a home. It's a village, it's a sanctuary, and it's a place for good people to live. What we've been doing here today and this past month and few weeks has been nothing but phenomenal. We've done a lot here, and there's still more we can do. You know, there's more people out there we can bring in. Our goal is to take back civilization. But there is one problem. There is a horde coming, and it's gonna be a big one. Some of us might die tomorrow, but no matter what, we keep going. And I would be honored to die by your guys' side. Why don't we blast some copyright music and everybody have some fun for a little bit.
As always, prior to the big challenge ahead, we spent some time to celebrate our progress and boost morale. We danced and enjoyed copyrighted music, celebrating our achievements and the new phase of our community's growth. As the night came to a close, we prepared for the most significant challenge yet, a horde of approximately 1,500 zombies that we knew would hit us in the following morning. We gathered our supplies and made final preparations in the garage, bracing ourselves for the onslaught and readying our defenses for the monumental task ahead. The morning of the largest horde we'd ever faced yet had arrived. This would be the test of everything so far, everything we had built and everyone who had joined us. I had a moment with Fish outside by his farm near the fire, discussing our journey and what laid ahead.
What's going on, man?
We've been here a few months. Well, we've known each other a few months now, ever since the forest, and this is going to be our greatest challenge yet. If something happens to me, I just want to know that this will all go on, and you can eventually rebuild society, and it's been a pleasure helping you in this long journey.
I'm very honored to hear that. Thank you. But I'm gonna tell you this, Fish. You're not f***ing dying, not on my watch. Tomorrow when this horde comes, you're with me, okay? You're by my side.
Alright.
And shortly after conversing with Fish, Bob and I took some time to walk around the village, talking about the challenges we faced and what was coming next.
Oh man, feels so good. It's over.
We got a lot more we can do, more lives we can save.
But the only thing I want to tell you is thank you for inviting me in here, man.
Yeah.
Not something that I would have expected.
You really impressed me these past 30 days nearly. Really grown into a true survivor. I'm happy to say that this is your home too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Rest in peace, brothers. We shall win this for y'all, both.
But as the hour approached, we geared up for the impending horde. I suited up in my armor and equipped a pristine katana that Banana Man had gifted me the night before. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, and everyone assembled in the garage, preparing our weapons, ammo, meds, and food for the fight ahead. At precisely 2 p.m., the distant screams and groans of the horde became audible. The day of terror had begun.
We're gonna stay in groups of 2s and 3s. I'm gonna have Fish Store and Bob with me. We're gonna take the wall to our what is this? I guess this will be our right.
Do we care about if they break down the walls? Should we
No.
breaking the walls?
No, if they break down the walls, it's fine. Ideally, just like try to make sure the gates don't break.
Hot, sir, yes, sir.
More than 3, good
Alright, get ready. Alright, let's go.
Here it
Let's
goes.
go.
Everybody, it's
Alright,
gate.
yeah, let's go,
Get your
go.
game face on. All right, luckily we only have one gate to really hold. Watch out for sprinters.
Fish Store, Bob, and I manned one of the gates, coordinating our efforts to hold back the onslaught. Zombies began to rise and grow from around the walls and swarm all 4 sides.
Oh my god. There's a lot. On your right, Fish. Behind you. They're starting to break in some walls. There's a couple on the far side. They're getting in. Okay, yeah, they're getting in. They're getting in pretty badly now.
And as the horde continued to breach our walls and overwhelm us, I noticed that the south side of the compound was left unprotected. So I decided to make my way over there, armed with my katana, to fight back some of the zombies.
No one's watching the south side right now. No one's watching south side. I'm going in. Oh no. Fish, I need help. Oh my god. I just scratched my foot.
But amidst the chaos, a zombie managed to sneak up on me while I was engaged in melee combat, latching onto me. I tried to escape, but I tripped and injured my foot, causing me to limp, and this would stick with me for the rest of the fight. We fought our way back outside the wall to clear the zombies off the barricades. With our group of the undead overcome, I met up with Banana Man, who had successfully defended his section and was pushing out towards the zombies.
Oh, I see Banana Man's out here. Is the other side clear, Banana?
Yeah, we went over there.
Okay. All right. Let's work our way up this way then. We're doing it. We're doing fine.
In the end, we regrouped as a village and circled around the outer walls, systematically cleaning off the remaining zombies. And as the sun set, the fight finally subsided. We had survived the largest horde we had faced yet. Our walls and our teamwork had proven crucial to our survival, and in a way, this was a culmination of everything we had done together. Every challenge we had faced, every hurdle we had overcome, we had arrived in what was truly our village. And after some time, the groans of the undead grew quiet. I had finally done everything I wanted to do. From my humble beginnings, starting from nothing but a lonely RV, to building something I could call home, getting lost in the woods and finding a new friend, to finally rebuilding society and a peaceful village. This has been an amazing journey, and I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, as I would like to hit 100,000 subs before the end of this year, and also join the Discord. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.